Good morning, this is Jack from Charting Markets, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Monday, the 8th of December. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing, learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. I'm not here to show trading signals. This is a video for paying subscribers at chartingthemarkets.substack.com. It was published on YouTube after a delay of 24 hours. All right, great. Let's have a look at ES, where we're seeing a modest increase. Basically, the whole of last week, we were just basically making little back and fill, back and fill, back, fill, back and fill. We may well continue doing the same this week. I think we have made enough progress last week that I was thinking that we were making so little progress on DAX and Nikkei last week that it was risking a substantial retracement. Also, the daily negative divergences on the RSI 5s. We lost a couple of those divergences at the weekend, and DAX and Nikkei got comfortably back over the daily middle bands on about Wednesday. So at the moment, things are looking pretty solid in terms of seeing a retest of the all-time highs in the not too distant future, pretty much across the board. Now, we almost made that on RTY over the weekend. Hang on. But we're still significantly short on ES, NQ, RTY, IWM came within a whisker of retesting the high, and on YM, they're all pretty close, no cigars so far. There's in terms of the patterns, I was looking at having a careful look over the weekend. I've got a decent looking rising wedge here on YM, but not really on Dia, and I've got a decent looking one on IWM, not so much on RTY. We will see how that goes Monday, but at the moment, I'm just thinking that we'll probably continue grinding up. In terms of the historical stats, we have bullish leaning stats today, and neutral basically for the rest of the week. I'm not expecting any major excitement to happen, although there are some interesting things that are happening. But not so much on equities. They've currently been pretty boring, and I'm thinking they might be pretty boring most of the way till Christmas. All right, in terms of YM, in terms of signals here, we've still got a fair amount of negative divergence. Wouldn't surprise me if we see a sharpish retracement intraday or running over a day or two in the next week or so. We will see how it goes. We've still got a weak 6-minute sell signal fixed on NQ. And a weak 6-minute sell signal fixed on IWM. We've got RTH signals as well. Nothing on DAX, and we've got a weak 6-minute sell on ESTX. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts on those. We're getting pretty close to, it's a while since anything really interesting happened on SPX ADP, but whenever it reaches the 30 level, I start looking for a reversal of some kind, and we're getting pretty close. We made it up to 26 last week. In terms of the ES chart, we lost the negative divergence on the SPX, ES. Daily RSI 5. We lost it again on SPX. Just to mention, on ESTX, I think we're switching over this week. Normally on Friday, possibly as late as next Monday. We will see. All right, looking at Qs. No, we never had any divergence on the daily RSI 5. In terms of Dia, we still have it, and IWM, we still have it as well. Looking at the hourly charts, well, actually looking at the 15-minute charts, no obvious pattern here so far on SPX, and generally speaking, that means that we're very likely to go higher, as we haven't reached the retest of the all-time high yet. That's not altogether a surprise. Exactly the same on the Qs. On Dia, nothing really to write home about. This looks okay on YM, but not on Dia, which is the one I'd be paying more attention to. And IWM, we've got a very decent looking little rising wedge, which is starting to break down. I'm not inclined to read too much into that. I would note that we almost made it up to the retest of the all-time high at 252.277. We made it up to 252.77, and we made it up to 252.66. So we made it within a whisker last week. We will see. DAX is now comfortably back over the daily middle band, and while the head and shoulders hasn't broken down yet, I think it's likely to need to get over 24.4 to get to fail the head and shoulders, and then after that I'll be looking for a retest of the high here at 24.8. On Nikkei, comfortably back over Thursday and Friday, the daily middle band as well. That is suggesting here a retest of the high. We'll see how that goes. All right, great. Let's have a look at DX. Okay, DX, we've seen the breakdown from this double top, and we're seeing a little bear flag forming. I'm leaning towards seeing at least a retest of this low, and very possibly continuation down here. But I would say there are a couple of strikes against that. One, we've got a very nice looking bear flag on euro, which is suggesting that the dollar's about to go up and reject back up into the high. USD JPY, we've got a very nice bull flag, which is currently breaking up. So that is suggesting higher on DX, and on USD CAD, which for some reason the dollar was having a very, very bad week against CAD last week. But we got a possible 60-minute buy signal brewing, suggesting that may be about to reverse. So got to say the signals short term are pointing towards DX going higher. Don't know how much higher that's going to be, but USD JPY is suggesting, and the flags on USD JPY and the euro, which are between them, I think about 66% of the dollar index, are suggesting that we may well just reject straight back up to this high. We will see. Okay, looking at ZB, we've seen some real weakness here actually, and we've finally got some decent patterns here. So I pulled those up, and I'll show those to you quickly. Now TYX, we've got what looks like a bull flag here, and we have a break which isn't up over the flag resistance yet. But sorry, I'm not saying I'm not running the hourly chart on this yet. But I was running the hourly chart on the others, and I've drawn the head and shoulder patterns in there. I'll just draw this one in. Oh, okay, there is in fact already a line there. That would be the neckline. And in terms of the target, this is a inverted head and shoulders, which is already broken up, and we've got matching ones on TNX and on TLT, and the target on this one, given that TYX has been the strongest, well, this is something I'm not so surprised to see, because at the moment it does look as though an awful lot. So Kevin Hassett's going to be the next Fed chair. It's a kind of a grinning idiot. Can be depended on to be absolutely loyal, and in effect, the Fed's going to lose its independence for the first time since the 1970s. At which point, Nixon was basically running it himself, and that would led to the stagflation of the 70s and was kind of a total disaster. So it's going to be interesting to see which way that goes. But at the moment, we've got an IHS which is broken up on TNX with a target in about the 50.2 area, and not seeing any particularly obvious reason to think that won't make target, and that is supported by an IHS breaking up on TNX. And we've got it's not so much of a clear picture here, but we've got a head and shoulders here which is broken down with a target in the 85.1 area. At the moment, these are all looking pretty good, and they make sense, and this is kind of what you would expect to be happening. So my lean is that unless we see something compelling to the contrary, those will likely make target. In the short term on ZB, that leaves us with a potential head and shoulders, which is starting to break down. And on ZN, we've got a very nice looking level top, which is getting closer to breaking down. I'm thinking those may break down and make target. Well, except the ZB one, I think, has already broken down, because the neckline would be across here, unless we're going to form another one right here. We do have a possible 60-minute buy signal brewing on ZB. We'll see how that goes. All right, looking at CL, I'm still wondering about seeing a bit of movement down below. There's a couple of lows which could be setup could be improved by retest, but bigger picture, I think this is a bullish setup that could take WTIC back to 100 over the next few months. We will see how that goes. But CL, still wondering about the lower retest the low in the 56 areas. HO, we've got a little double bottom here which is trying to break up. That could reject back into the low, but no particular need for this to go any lower. RBOB, they could use a retest of this low here, I think, but at the moment looks as though we're going to continue higher. We shall see. All right, looking at NG has broken up. Now this This was in the teeth of daily sell signals on both the RSI 14 and the RSI 5, and the RSI 14 one has failed. RSI 5 is close to failing. If we go any higher, really, chances are that's going to fail too. Now, this brings us back to an older scenario where this was going to go up into basically the 6 area, and I think there's a pretty good chance that that's exactly what we're seeing. GC, we're seeing a little bit of consolidation here, but bigger picture, I'm leaning towards seeing a retest of this high here, the all-time high. SI, is we had a little double top, broke down here, rejected back up into the high. This is possibly a double top, but I'm leaning towards the upside. Palladium, we've had a consolidation triangle here, and that has broken up. I'm thinking this double bottom, which has broken up slightly, may well see a higher high and start breaking out seriously towards a retest of this high here. Looking at platinum, we're holding the monthly pivot as support, so I'm leaning towards seeing a retest of this high and then probably a retest of this high too. On HG has also broken up, which is interesting. I don't have as clear a target on this as I've got on NG, but it can certainly go higher. We've got a little double top here. I am watching for potential weakness, but the obvious inflection point we had down here in about the 5.35 area is now behind us. Not a huge breakup so far, but it could well get bigger. All right, KC. KC is still kicking around near the monthly pivot. I think we're waiting for direction when that is either clearly established as resistance or support. If it is established as support, then we're probably heading up to a retest this high here in the 415 area. If it's established as resistance, well, we could go a long way down. Looking at SB, this looks like an overall bear flag forming. We haven't quite made it to this IHS target in the 15.43 area. Not seeing anything to suggest we won't make it. CC, this looks as though it may well be a bear flag forming. We'll see how that goes. 60-minute sell signal fixed. That barely survived last week, but it did survive the week. So I'm thinking that might make target now. Looking at CT, not 100% sure where this IHS right shoulder should be, but I think an IHS is likely forming, and we're likely to head higher. I think the where this low lands likely tells us where the IHS neckline is. Lumber, very nice looking double bottom. 60-minute buy signals reached possible near miss target. Wheat, very nice looking double bottom. Corn, probably a bullish consolidation, leaning long on both wheat and corn. On soy, we've got a head and shoulders which is broken down with a target in the 105.8.75 area. Chinese haven't really bought any significant amounts of soybean yet. This rise here was basically about trying to deal with the Chinese. I'm not seeing any particular reason to think that this won't make the target in the 105.8.75 area. We will see. ZL, holding the monthly pivot so far. If that continues to be the case, I'd be leaning towards higher. If it fails hard, then I'd be looking for some retest of the lows. Looking at live cattle could be forming an IHS here. We're reaching a possible IHS neckline. Lean hogs, possible double bottom resistance here, which I'm watching, haven't reached it yet. Okay, let's have a look at questions. Okay, all right, not seeing any questions. We will see how it goes. I'm not expecting anything particularly exciting on equities this week, but I am thinking we might have a retest that lasts, a back test that lasts a day or so to clear all the negative divergence on the hourly charts. We'll see how that goes. All right, great. Everyone take care, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning.